Welcome to the Xbox wall hanger build. This is part of a series of renovating my office. Go check some of those videos out if you're interested. Without further ado, let's jump into the build. These are the blueprints of the build. These plans are for an Xbox One, so it's completely square. If you have something like a PlayStation or another kind of Xbox, just keep that in mind. You might need to switch your plans up. But for the build, I'm using a 1/2 inch plywood that I already had laying around in my office. So we get into it and start cutting. The bottom part of this build has this thin little piece of wood like you see here. I originally cut it about 4 inches, but made it even wider to about 6 inches because I'm just going to be gluing the wood piece to the base. And I wanted to make sure there was enough surface area so that the Xbox didn't fall out. Alright, now we're going to go dry fit it in the house and then come back here and glue it up. Alright, the dry fit worked great. Everything is cut good. So I'm going to do a quick sand and then glue it up, screw it up, paint it up. During the assembly of this, I was going to screw all the pieces in and glue them, but my wood started splitting with the 1-inch screws that I had. I think they're 1.5 inch. I could have gone 1 inch and it probably would have been better. But I ended up just removing the screws and just using glue. Wood glue is super strong, so I knew I wouldn't have problems, but I wasn't 100% confident. But it is going good thus far. The next part I'm working on here is the base from where the Xbox will sit on. So this is just another piece of 1/2 inch plywood with the little ledge that I cut earlier, and then I'm going to cut pocket holes for this and screw it into the other part. A little bit more complicated than I thought. The 1/2 inch plywood probably isn't the best to use because it was splintering. Maybe the wood that I have is just terrible, but I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments if 1/2 inch usually splinters like that. Maybe I'm just a scrub and I shouldn't be doing that. Let me know. Not if I'm a scrub, because I know I'm a scrub, but let me know how I should be doing it. Anyway, let's let that dry and then we'll paint it. I'm using some matte black spray paint for this step. I then found a stud, drilled a hole through the top of the Xbox holder, and then screwed directly into the stud. This will hold very well. Looks like it works. Hopefully it doesn't drop. Maybe I should put a towel underneath just in case it falls. Or my pillows. Let's do that. And that about sums up this build. The Xbox holder wall hanger has been really awesome actually. As you can see here, I built it so that the airflow comes out and so that nothing's blocking any of the holes. Okay, maybe a few on the bottom, but for the most part, it's still letting the air in and out. I've had no issues with overheating or anything like that. But one of the downsides with this design is that if I flip it over and want the wires to go on the other side, one of these holes over here with the HDMI or the power would be covered up by this, and it would cover up more of the holes. So that's something to think about and maybe consider in your build or in my next iteration of this design. Probably my favorite thing of this design is it does look really clean. It looks like it's floating off of the wall. You can't even see the bracket on the bottom of the Xbox. It holds perfectly and it just looks really nice. If you are curious, I did make a tiny little controller holder up there, and that was just with 2 pieces of plywood screwed together and then 1 hole screwed into the wall. That was really easy. You can make that yourself as well. If you're interested in another gaming build, I built basically a gaming plaque where you can put your headphones and your controller on one with an LED light in the back. Go check that build out, and thank y'all so much for watching. I appreciate you. I will see y'all in that next video. See ya out there.